And then you won't be all alone anymore. Because I'm gonna bury you next to your father.
He needs some milk.
As great as that moment was, there's a slight problem. Let me explain. See, WWE has a wrestling problem. And in my opinion, it's slowly killing the thing that made it great. Now you might be thinking, well, what do you mean? It's called World Wrestling Entertainment for a reason, right? Well, that's the thing. From the discourse I've seen online, I've seen a lot of people saying that WrestleMania builds are missing something. That WWE seems to be lacking that feeling. Have y'all ever sat back and thought as to why that is? Because in my opinion, it's the lack of wrestling. And yes, they do still wrestle, but sometimes it feels like we're watching more talking than wrestling. And it's a problem that appears to be getting worse. Now, this isn't to say that WWE is bad. I mean, of course, business is still booming, but it's the in-ring product that is being deprioritized. So today we're going to look at various areas where I believe that WWE is lacking when it comes to the wrestling department. And if you stick around till the end, I'll also give my thoughts as to why I think this keeps happening. And I'll also give some possible solutions for this issue. But before we get into that, y'all know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, if you're into the NBA or the NFL, go ahead and check out my other channel, link in the pinned comment, link in the description. Now without further ado, let's get back to the video. So recently I was watching a video by the YouTuber named Assemble, where he talked about some of the bad habits that WWE had developed, and one of them was the lack of wrestling in WWE main event builds, where they tend to do a lot of promos, and then there just seems to be a lack of balance between that and the actual wrestling, or at least some level of physicality. Shout out Assemble, by the way. And it really got me thinking, yeah, he's right. Because we've seen this time and time again, especially when it comes to one of the major PLEs. Let's take a look at the Roman Reigns CM Punk build, for example. What happens every week? It's a main event segment between Roman Reigns and CM Punk, where there's more than likely a face-to-face with some words being thrown back and forth, and then maybe you'll get some physicality, as we've seen in the past 2 weeks. But see, that's the thing, it's become a bit formulaic. And we are not even at WrestleMania weekend yet, so I'm wondering, how are they gonna keep doing this build? Is it gonna just be more promos? Are they gonna up the ante? Are they gonna mix things up, maybe have a tag match or something? But the thing is, I highly doubt it, because this has been a trend with WWE for years. Let's take a look back at one of the most anticipated builds ever, last year's build between Cody and John Cena. Now, I do want to acknowledge that this build did have its limitations, as John Cena was on a limited schedule, and then we never saw the Bald Frog or Travis Scott show up on the way to WrestleMania. But then it was just week after week after week of either Cody Rhodes trying to build this match by himself, or a promo between Cody and John Cena. And don't get me wrong, I love promos, but there could have been better moments of physicality or more variety when it came to these segments. For instance, what if Cody had a match that week with someone else on the roster? And then during that match, we had a run-in from John Cena where he took out Cody, or he distracted him and caused him to lose the match. Or maybe put them on opposite ends of each other in a tag team match. Or if you didn't want to do that, what about some pre-recorded segments where you could have had some physicality backstage, and that way it could fill in for those moments when John Cena was unable to appear? I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like there were other options if they wanted to build this match the right way. And yes, again, I understand that the circumstances weren't great, but sometimes that requires you to think outside of the box if you really want this to go through well. Speaking of last year's WrestleMania build, we also saw that a bit when it came to the triple threat match between Roman, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins, where in multiple weeks we would have those awkward segments where it would be just one of them in the ring trying to hype up the match by themselves. Honestly, they could have had a lot more face-to-face confrontations to at least build up the hype a little bit more. To me, it's just weird. We're often told that rivalries are intense, but we rarely see them fight until the actual PLE. And yeah, the actual PLE match might have been great, but that doesn't mean that you don't put as much effort into the build itself. But it's not just PLE builds that have this issue, it's the actual champions themselves. Now, what have we noticed about the world champions in WWE lately? It's the fact that on weekly shows, and sometimes even PLEs, they don't seem to wrestle. Now, I understand why WWE does this. They want to keep the champions off TV so that when they do wrestle, it feels like a big moment. But in all honesty, I feel like this hurts the champions more than it helps them. So you gotta ask yourself, if the top prize isn't being fought for, is it still the centerpiece of wrestling? Let's take Jade Cargill for example. After she won the WWE Women's Championship, she went on to wrestle a grand total of 7 minutes on TV during her first 84 days as champion. And then by February of this year, we were already over 100 days into this reign, and she didn't even defend this championship once. Which makes you wonder what is really going on with creative. I know they were banking on the whole Bianca Belair angle, but you're telling me you couldn't come up with anything for your women's world champion? This kind of thing literally damaged Jade Cargill's title reign. As if you look at the discourse online, you'll notice that people really hate it, or even on the men's side. Take a look back at Cody, Cena, or Roman in the last days of his reign, and you'll notice that it's the same thing with them as well. They almost never wrestle on weekly television, and sometimes they're not there at all. And if you combine this with the fact that WWE likes to have these long title reigns, it leads to fans getting bored. It ultimately leads to people having the opinion that the hype is gone when it comes to WWE. Now, I'm not saying that they should have them defend the titles on weekly television, because I don't believe that that's needed. That should be a rarity. But at least have them involved with something on weekly TV. Could be a tag match, could be something else. It just doesn't always have to be a promo. Speaking of weekly TV, that brings me to the next point, the structure of the weekly shows in Raw and SmackDown. See, it seems like when it comes to these weekly shows, we're not easing into wrestling. We're waiting on it. Like seriously, ask yourself, when was the last time that Raw or SmackDown opened with a match? Because honestly, I can't even remember. It seems like week after week after week, we're opening the show with someone talking. Like we saw that with The Vision especially, where we had the usual, my name is Paul Heyman, and he's the visionary, and this is the pressure, and this is Logan Paul, the YouTuber. It's like, come on, man. Do we really have to do this every week? Couldn't you mix it up just a little bit? And then during the John Cena retirement tour, it'll be a John Cena promo, or insert champion here promo. During the Bloodline era, it was the Bloodline. It's a common theme. It gets repetitive, and eventually, your audience is going to not like it. It's like Triple H is just stuck in this Evolution mindset. Do y'all remember how Raw was when Evolution was running the show? It was the same thing. It would be an opening promo by Triple H. And then you'd have Evolution close the show as well. And guess what? We hated it. So why are we doing this right now? But the thing is, it's not just the opening segments that's the problem. The problem is scattered throughout the show. I saw a crazy post recently that talked about the total match time for each of the weekly shows. And what I saw was SmackDown, which is a 3-hour show, somehow only has 1/3 of its 3 hours dedicated to match time. Raw is literally around 2.5 hours, but somehow only gets 38 to 52 minutes of match time. That's crazy. And this isn't even taking into account the amount of commercials we get. Now, I don't hate the weekly shows. I still check them out, and there's a lot of positives there. But there just seems to be a lack of balance between the wrestling and everything else. Now, this brings us to the $1 million question. Why does this keep happening in WWE? Well, in my opinion, there's a multitude of factors that go into this, so let's get into it. One aspect is WWE's obsession with viral moments. They want that viral moment in the promo where somebody says something crazy, or their personal favorite, the pull-apart brawl. This seems to be their go-to to develop hype for a match, and it happens over and over and over again. Now, there are instances where those moments work. For instance, with the Brock Lesnar-Obafemi feud, But if you notice, they haven't said a word to each other. It's been pure physicality, and that's why everyone is hyped for this match. Promos and face-to-face segments, as well as pull-apart brawls, are honestly great, but they can't be the anchor of your wrestling program. There's no reason why a 20-minute promo should always get more focus than a 12-minute match. Now maybe I'm just a sucker for some of the older eras, where it seemed like there was some variety when it came to the builds. Like maybe we would have a tag team match, or even a singles match, and it would end with some shenanigans. Or maybe we would have some off-screen face-to-face, like what they did with Brock and Austin on the road to WrestleMania 17. Maybe you'd have the world title participants from each match team up and face each other in a match at a PLE, like what they did with Undertaker and Batista facing off against John Cena and HBK. Speaking of Undertaker and Batista, they did a variety of things on their build up to WrestleMania, such as having Batista as a guest commentator while Undertaker was having a match. And this led to some great moments like Undertaker throwing his opponent into Batista. And then we would have Batista returning the favor in subsequent weeks. And this all added to the hype for this match. And it didn't rely on just straight up promos every week. Like what if during the John Cena Cody Rhodes feud, that John Cena would show up on the Titantron to distract Cody in a match, causing him to lose and then furthering the story plot. I feel like that would have been a way to have John Cena on TV without actually having him there, since his dates were limited, and you could have pre-recorded this. Now, the other reason why WWE tends to do these promos instead of actual physicality is obviously to prevent injuries. And I honestly don't blame WWE too much here, but as we've seen, injuries are gonna happen regardless. Like take for instance Braun Breaker, where he got injured during an opening segment on Monday Night Raw. And it wasn't like anybody got physical with him, he just happened to get injured flipping over furniture. At the end of the day, WWE's goal should be to entertain their fans. So if injuries are gonna happen anyway, why not show some level of creativity when it comes to this? Now this video isn't to completely shit on WWE. The storytelling in my opinion has been overall pretty good, but the storytelling shouldn't come at the expense of, the wrestling. It should enhance it. Wrestling isn't necessarily dead, but it's less central than ever. But let me know what y'all think. Let me know in the comments. Do you think WWE actually has a wrestling problem? And if so, how would you improve it? Do you think there should be more wrestling in PLE builds? Or what do you think about my point about champions not wrestling on weekly television? Or the lack of title defenses overall by some of these championship reigns? And of course, if you made it this far and you haven't already, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, or a thumbs down if you don't. That could be a choice too. And also subscribe for more content, as we are on the road to 1,000 subs. But yeah, thank you for hanging with me today in the Drayfabe Corner, and I'll see y'all in the next one.